Good evening. Today I want to introduce about Python programming. In the next few weeks, almost either 5 or 6 weeks, we'll talk about Python programming as an introductory. In this in today's session, I want to explain about what is Python, what are the tools for Python programming, why we need to use Python. Only this one will be discussed in the next session. What is Python? It is a general purpose, dynamic, high level and interpreted scripting language, which means as a programming language. It has overall for any purpose we can use it. Python programming language. It is an object-oriented, high level, whereas interpreted means the execution part is line by line. Why we need this Python? Because the first one is easy to use for anyone who has not any concept about programming language or programming by itself, can introduce and learn easily for its own purpose. The other one is this expressive language and interpretive language, plus it is object-oriented language. Usually, as we know, in computer science programming, object-oriented language is most usually used for software development purpose. It is integratable, embedded, dynamically allocates memory, and wide range of library frameworks. This is the basic interesting things why we need to use Python. The other one, where is Python used for? Who can access, who can use, or who can learn Python and then implement for its own purpose? One is the data scientist. Data scientists nowadays working or using the Python because it has huge library and then easily learnable, so that data science used this based on Python programming language. The other, data mining. And software developers also use for desktop applications. We can use also console-based application, usually for different system controlling mechanism or system management. We use console. Mobile application, it has just like Android based. We can use also mobile application using Python. Software development, any software development from simple to complex, from simple software to high level software, you can use Python. Just as you know, I hope you have the idea about audio ARP systems, very huge and very modular software. The other one, for web application purpose, we can use Python. Enterprise application, 3D, the internal architectures, you can use this one. Machine learning, computer vision and image processing application, speech recognition. This is mostly we are using on the AI applications or artificial intelligence purpose. We use Python. What are the most popular framework and libraries which, if you want to implement the Python for web development purpose? Django, Flask, Pyramid, CherryPy. These are some of the frameworks. The one who want to develop website or web development, web applications using Python. For graphical user interface, TK, PyGTK, PyQt, and so on. For the machine learning, there are libraries: TensorFlow, PyTorch, ScienceKit, Learn, Matplotlib, SciP, and for mathematics purpose, we can use also NumPy and Panda. The other one, there are different frameworks where we, what are the platform to work on this Python programming. As usual, as you know, for example, in C++, you can use Notepad++. Before it was also Turbo. In similar fashion, you can use different frameworks. I hope you know that the Eclipse is a IDE framework, integrated development environment. In that Eclipse, it incorporates C, C++, PHP, Java, and so on. in addition to Python also. In such case, we can use Anaconda. It is a distributed of Python and R programming language for scientific computing simplified package to manage and deployment purpose. We can use Anaconda. This is usually the one who is working big data, and for data analysis it's preferable to use in the framework of Anaconda to run the Python. PyDev, this is third-party plugin. It is inserted or using the Eclipse. Eclipse is an IDE. Sorry, I will come back this one. PyDev got Eclipse. It is an integrated development environment. We can use PyDev. I will show you later on. Atom, another free open source text and source code editor. Eclipse is the purpose of the PyDev for using Python. Otherwise, it is also IDE for different programming language. PyCharm, it is hybrid platform development. Usually, the software developers using the Python programming language uses PyCharm. Jupyter-notebook. This is an interesting part. This is what this environment what is now running, and I'm writing this notice using Jupyter-notebook. Jupyter-notebook. You see this? Provides an easy-to-use interactive data science environment across many programming languages. Not only as ID, it's also presentation, just like I can present for education tools and so on. But it is very, very interesting. This one I will show you now. The other part also, there is a Spider, Tiny ID also you can use as usual. Different software libraries also incorporated. For example, here it is only mentioned two of them, TensorFlow and Pandas, just like as I have mentioned above for web development. These are NumPy, Pandas, all these are libraries. So once we have this one, how can we use different tools? Let me start from the Jupyter. To run this Jupyter notebook, first you have to have because my operating system is Linux, and the Linux parts I have to run this terminal, Control-Alt-T, new terminal, and then simply write Jupyter notebook and then enter, and finally the application is starting to run as a web browser. Please, Jupyter notebook, simply type it. When I enter this one, this will be run, because already I ran the Jupyter notebook, and start to be writing what you want to do it in this part. For example, this is already a written package. For example, from IPython display, this is the library, import an image, and this is also library imported from the display, and this is a way. We'll come to later on when we discuss about the syntax and then how to program and the structure of the program or Python programming language. So for this moment, simply we can showing the interface of the Python. Once you write some application or some code, and then simply run it. Simply when this one is comment, and this one is I have to cancel, otherwise the error happens. Here it is, x is already commented, so there has to be, here is, how did you get the y, Anaconda? Is there Anaconda? Because there is no image x like this. Run this only Python, but x is already commented there. Why it is run? Anaconda is there, display x. Why? How do you know the x? How do you do? No, impossible. This is x should be, and the other one, if I want to be working on the node, simply double click this one, and then I can start to write something. This is, or what I want to show you, we can add one more cell, insert cell below this one. This is this hash is wants to be for the header parts, and then run, coming like this. When I write like this, this is the first session of the Python programming language spelling error there, session off, and then simply run. In this case there might be an error. Why? Because it is now in the code. You see it here. I have to change this one code into markdown because normal written. Otherwise, when I return back to the code, it starts to be the interpreter starts to be checking the Python code because it is already in the Python. So I have to change this one to markdown and then run. Now, no. What's going on? It's not good. Markdown and then run. Now this is the first Python. If I want to make it, this one is as a header, I can make it 2 or 3 of it, depends on the highlight. So the same is true for all of them. And in addition to that, look at this one. For example, if I want to be import Panda after I install it Panda, import Panda as PD. This is just like a variable. NumPy, this is for mathematics, numerical Python, and then simply run. And you can have it. Hello world, the first one, print hello world, and then what will be the output of this one? Look at this. Hello world, x equals 45, z, and print z. Or you can write here, for example, the value of, let me do like this, x, now, comma, as a string, and like this, comma, y, comma, is like this, and now the output will be changes. The value of 45 and 55, because 45 is a value of x, y is a value of y is 55, the sum becomes 66, and so on. In this manner, you can start to work on the Jupyter-notebook. This Jupyter-notebook usually works for data science. Usually when you are a scientist, write a note, write a code, and then execute, check it, and come to the next level, and so on, by simply adding different cells. This is working on Jupyter. But let me show you another one for using Python using terminal. Python. Have you seen this cursor? You see this cursor? This what you call it, less than, or greater than sign. This work, it shows that the terminal is now, it is in the Python terminal. So now we can define x is equals to 5, you see, y is equals to 2, and then print x. I can do like this, or z is equals, as long as, unless I exit from this terminal, all the variable already holds in the memory so that I can access it as long as in the same page. The same is true again in the notebook. Once you import a library file at the top, in that case in any cell within the same file you can access it. Let's say z equals to x plus y, and simply I can write z and then out, enter, and that case the sum will be, or print z. Oops, what's going on? There is 0, so error happens because 0, there is no 0 there. Print z are like this, so 7 become. This is simply writing. Note that in my computer already I installed Python 3.9, so version 3.9. In that case it works, and then exits like this from this one. The next one is I want to show that using PyCharm. Already I have it here. This is by the way, for the notebook, when you want to save such file using ipynote, which means IPY notebook and not B. Then the saving way of if you want to save the Python notebook, in that case, oops, what's going on? Do you see this extension IPYNB? Python notebook, Python notebook, just like that. It is you saved it. But when we come to the This one, of course, I will show you again how to convert from notebook to the normal python.py. In this case, we have it, you can open a new file or a new project and then starting to be working on this terminal. This is, you can create a class, you can create different objects and then different libraries and different files also within different folders you can call or import. Depends on as you have it, the programming concepts in different programming language. The only thing is the way of the structure, import, syntax, and so on. We'll come to that one, but the environment is the same. Within usually, I prefer to the one who is a software developer using this PyCharm. We got this one. What else? Oh, I want to show you again if it is, we have it using Eclipse. Eclipse. Oh, by the way, in this part, this is, oops, maybe it's not shown very well. In this part, if some of the file is not visible, for example, in this case, TensorFlow is not installed because it shows it's not installed here. Because I open it notebook plus this one, and then my memory is very tight. That's why it's very slow. So in this case, what we have to do is that we can embed the plugins by setting. Please open it. Oh. Oops. It makes it busy. Oh. Can I move to the other one until this one is open? Yes, it makes it busy, my computer. So when I open this Eclipse, a little bit also it becomes busy, but I want to show you again the Eclipse parts. In this case, I want to make it sudo -s to change into a root password, and then I want to make it in the root, and then Eclipse. It can be starting to open. For making this one is, you see it loads. You see the previous one for the PyCharm. The PyCharm plugins is loaded, and then I can, okay, it is the cursor is, it's starting to be loading, and then what you will do, simply TensorFlow, the one which you want to be installed, TensorFlow for example. Already okay, it's restart IDE already installed, but the only thing is restart IDE. For this moment, let me stop here, because already I want to show you another IDE part is Eclipse. It's starting to open. Have you seen here? Good. So different modules, for example, NumPy, Panda, everything can be installed from this PyCharm by searching in this manner. Let me cancel this one and come to the Eclipse part. Eclipse. And in addition to this one, as long as it makes it safe, I can cancel this one because less memory space. This is what this notebook. If you want a new one, you can add new notebook and so on, or you can also save it checkpoints, or you can download as latex. I will show you in another thing, or in the PDF latex parts. You can put it in the PDF formats and then convert your notes and then move to the other one. You can print and so on. Interesting, by the way, for the for the notebook. This is the workspace of the Eclipse. Eclipse starts while this one is converting to the PDF. Eclipse is ongoing. Let me some notebook gets that one, and let me check it. It's not finished. Some internal error happens, so let me stop it here, because later on I will show you this one. It's preferable to be minimize it, the memory for, you see it is too stuck because it has huge resources in the notebook. This is starting the Eclipse is coming. it is a good IDE. You can use for C++, PHP, Java, Python. You can simply go to install it what you want to work on it. For example, if you want to for Java, you can install a Java IDE and then work. How can you open that one? Help, and then Eclipse Marketplace. Listen, this one, Eclipse Marketplace, and click it. Starts to be in that. By the way, in this case, should have an internet, because if in case Python is not incorporated, by the way, in the case of Eclipse, what type of Python you run it or install? PyDev, and then let's go. PyDev. If it is already installed, because it's not shown. PyDev Eclipse, and then starts to be installed. But for this moment, I prefer to leave it, because it takes time depending on the internet. Or Python Code Mix, you can install it. Bring a space extension for Python verse code directly to Eclipse. You can use this one, and so on. In this manner, you can install it and then working in any one of the IDE parts. But I prefer for you to work on PyCharm. If you want us to be work simple for data science, for analysis of different data, for artificial intelligence, machine learning purpose, deep learning, for all these things, I prefer to use working on the notebook. So next time we'll start to be working from our first session, what is the syntax of the Python code. We'll come back in that cases. Thank you very much.